So I'm pretty sure that the plant I'm digging out here is gonna horrify some of you. I'm digging out daylilies. I have decided that I don't care for daylilies. And for years I have had them in my garden because they are a convenient plant to have, and they're not terrible. But all these years I've had them in this spot, and they bring me no joy. So I am digging them all out. And I have some more on the other side of the house, and those are going too. Nice hands, huh? Okay, so why am I digging out daylilies, which are beloved by many gardeners, certainly by breeders. There's so many, there are really cool daylilies out there. These are actually quite nice. Most of these that I'm digging out in this area are a double apricot. They're quite pretty, they're very frilly. And then I think there's a small lavender one here. Now these have not been growing great because I haven't divided these for maybe 3 years. And they do need some division, there's no doubt about that. And I am not moving these somewhere else in my garden. They're going away. I will find a new home for them because they're nice plants. But I have just decided that I'm all done with placeholder plants. So I put these daylilies here, I don't know, a long time ago. Easily 10 years ago. Probably longer ago than that. And I put them there because they were a convenient and easy solution to put somewhere. And at the time I thought they were quite pretty. Now, over the years, I've just decided I don't like daylilies that much. You constantly have to dead it. You know, they obviously, a daylily, each flower lasts a day. You have to deadhead them. You do have to protect them from deer a little bit. They don't seem to love them, but they'll also eat them. It's just nothing that brings me any joy, coupled with the fact that this spot has gotten shadier over the years because the serviceberry tree that I'm standing near, which is not doing well this year, but I hope it'll be okay. It's dealing with a rust problem. So and I've got a lot of other plants in here. I've just stuck it there. So I'm not gonna have that there anymore. And this is, for me, kind of a big deal to sort of start deciding that it's okay to just get rid of a plant with no idea whatsoever of what's going to replace it. And I actually think by having those plants there, as long as I have, I don't know, essentially been procrastinating on replacing it. So now I have to replace it because there's a big empty hole in the garden. So just to show you what's going on here, this is the path that comes from the patio. And if you come around this way, this is where I've got all the big hostas on the little retaining wall. And in this spot right here, in this hole, is where all those daylilies have been. Now, a couple of things. Right here is a spirea that I quite like. Here's a hosta that I don't like in this spot, but I'm not going to move it now. I'm going to wait till spring to move that. So that will open this all up. Behind here, I've got a baptisia, which I'm good with. And I've got a Joe Pye weed, that's little Joe Pye weed growing there. And then I have, this is Eye Sumac growing in a pot there. So that pot can go wherever I want in the garden. And if you come around this way, this little teepee is where I plant sweet peas, which I could do there, or I could do another spot. And then the rest of this whole area is annuals right here. So this is dahlias and other annuals. So I could redo this whole area next year in perennials. And I think maybe I will, we'll see. It's a good thing to have a winter project. But what I'm not gonna have anymore here is any more daylilies. Okay, so I do have a new home for these, and I thought I'm gonna try to do them a little favor and do some of the dividing for them so they can pop it in easily. And I thought I'd just show you how I'm gonna divide these. You don't need to do this washing step. I just feel like it's a lot easier to see what's going on when you're dealing with clean roots. So I'm gonna try to just tease it apart with my hand. There. So that you can see right there, that came apart really easy. It's got a nice clump of roots. So even if you end up breaking a couple of those roots, don't worry about it. Okay, this clump is quite a bit more difficult to get through, so I thought I'd just quick show you. I am going to use a little spade here. Okay, so that sounds and looks dramatic, but I guarantee you they will be fine. And I'm going to do it right through the center too. Get 2 out of that. There's still plenty of roots on there. So that's actually a pretty big division, but that'll be good. Okay, so the next thing I'm digging out here will certainly make some people cringe. I'm going to dig out a little lime hydrangea. Now, I have 3 here. This is the first one down here, this little guy. This is the second one, and I have a third one behind here. And they do better as you get farther back. Why that is, I don't know. They get, if anything, the one in the back gets less sun than the one in the front. So it's not a lack of sun situation, and little limes do want a fair amount of sun. Maybe it's that it's been crowded. Maybe it's that one of them was a bad plant to begin with. Maybe I didn't water this one as much as the other ones. I have no idea. But all 3 of these little limes have performed a little iffy for me. The one in the back, I'm all about. I can handle that one. This one is still a little bare. And this one is just pathetic. This one's going to get a reprieve this year. I'm going to give it a pretty hard prune, I think, in late winter. And I do have a video on pruning panicle hydrangeas. So I will link to that below. You can check that out if you're interested, but late winter is the time to do that. So I will probably do that, but this one is just going to go away. It's not dead. It's just underperforming. It also has a fair amount of garlic mustard weed at its base, which I'm just going to dig out at the same time. And I'm just not going to put up with looking at a plant right in the front of my border anymore that is just not performing well and is not making me happy. So I would expect to see a bigger root system like that. You can see that the roots are sort of they're sort of circling a little bit. They're crossing here. So nice slug population on there. So it could be a situation where, you know, maybe this was a little pot bound when I planted it and it just never reached out. The roots look plenty healthy, by the way. It's not that the roots look unhealthy. It's just that they never really went that far. So yep, it's still alive and it's going in the bin. So it's very hard to get an idea of what this area of the garden might look like in a different way, because right now it's full of, I've got a lot of dahlias in here. It's just kind of a mess in general as things get to be this time of year. So I do think though that we're gonna try to keep that little lime going there. But maybe this front area again, a few dahlias popped in here, but otherwise maybe some perennials along here that kind of stretch along the border. Over here I have a blue kazoo spirea, which is one of my favorite spireas, and I'm very happy with that there. And then in the back, we've got a lot. We've got a viburnum back there. We've got, of course, you guys, if you watched my video on unusual plants, you'll recognize this as Angelica Gigas, which is in the middle of putting out seeds right now, which will create all sorts of little plants that are very easy to get out if you don't want them there. So, you know, maybe it's due for a little redo here, but taking that plant out makes me feel, well, frankly, it sort of forces my hand a little bit. I'm not going to rely on that anymore, and we'll have this hole here and we'll figure it out for the future. So really the reason behind this video is that it's my philosophy that you should love what's in your garden, and no matter whether you have the most amazing plant in the world, if you don't love it, then why are you keeping it in your garden? So I'm sure many of you will think I'm nuts for ripping out all my daylilies, and I hear you. I spent a lot of money on some of those plants. At one point I got into the Oaks daylily catalog and did a lot of damage because they are beautiful plants. I just personally don't love them. So it's my message to you that no matter what you have to do to make yourself find the right plant for your spot that you love, you should do that. And if, like me, it means sort of forcing your own hand by digging your plants out in fall so that you know in spring you're going to replace them with something, then I say go for it and do it. And if you can find a spot for one of those plants so it can have another home, that, at least that, to me, that helps keep me from feeling a little bit guilty. So those daylilies have a good home. That little lime hydrangea has a good home in the compost pile. But the daylilies will live again, and they're going to a good home where I will see them frequently. So that makes me feel better, and I figure that's a win-win because that's somebody who wants them. So this is just my parting message for today, which is surround yourself by the plants you love and don't feel obligated to keep things in your garden that aren't doing it for you for whatever reason. Okay, well, that's it for today. I hope you're doing something fun in your garden, but make sure you love your garden. I say this all the time, but I feel really strongly that you got to love what's in there because it's all you. And if you don't love what's in there, then why in the world are you doing it, right? All right, that's it. Go have fun in your garden, and we'll see you soon.